So over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I've made a lot of book purchases that I have not hauled in any videos. I haven't done a proper book haul video in all that time. I've done a few here and there, but I have not really been showing the books that I've been purchasing in videos as I've been receiving them. And so it's been a while, but I kind of would like to do videos on them because I'm getting ready to rearrange all my books and put up new bookshelves, and all these books, which are currently in boxes stacked because I don't have enough room for them, will be put on shelves. So this would be like the perfect time for me to haul them if I'm ever going to do it at all. But I just wasn't sure if anybody would be interested in books I purchased a year and a half to 2 years ago. So I put a poll up on my community tab, and just about everybody said, yes, show us the books. So full disclosure, I have already recorded this video, but apparently I forgot to hit the record button. So the book at the top of this box is called Daily Dracula, and it's a real nice hardback edition. I think Shawn Standfast told me about this book. It's got really cute M papers. I love the M papers. What this is a group of people who are on an online forum reading Dracula and having like running commentary about what they were reading. These are their posts, a collection of their posts. And it has like memes in it and some drawings and some pictures and things like that. I'll see if I can find some to show you guys. Here's one. Super cute. Ooh, here's a really pretty one. I like the colors in this one. Here's a little comic that somebody drew. So it's a collection of the posts from this Dracula forum. I thought it sounded really interesting. I pre-ordered it. It came in, and I'm really super pleased with it. I can't wait to read it next year. So the next book in the box is Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Deo, and the tagline here says, "Only love can break the spell." The cover's kind of nice. It's kind of pretty. I like the colors anyway. So this is a fantasy and apparently a love story, which I don't really go for love stories too much sometimes, but not that often. And I'm real kind of picky about my fantasy. I lean towards sword and sorcery, fairy tales, and like folklore or myth-based type fantasy. This one does seem to be based on either a fairy tale or maybe some kind of folklore. It's about a man who has been cursed, and his soul is trapped in a flute, and the woman who loves him has to try to lift the curse and save him. So that does sound like something that I would enjoy, so I can absolutely see why I picked this book. The next book in the box is the Bathysphere book, Effects of the Luminous Ocean Depths by Brad Fox. I am very excited to read this. I actually forgot that I had this book until I was going through this box here. But what it was is some people who went down in a bathysphere. I think the first one went down in the 1930s, and then over time, other people were going down. But this is excerpts from the bathysphere logs. There's letters in here. There's like some poetry in here. There's a lot of drawings in here. Actually, I'll show you some of the. Here's one. That looks like an eel. Here's pictures of some letters. Here's another one of some little fish. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I'm actually very excited. I'm going to bring this one out and set it aside. It's not going back in the box because I'm going to read this very, very soon. The next book in the box is Blood of Elves by an author whose name does not sound anything like it looks. Right there. And I forgot how to pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try. This is chronologically the third book in the Witcher series. It's a series I really enjoy. I do have it in trade paperback, and I do like the trade paperbacks. They have wonderful covers, and they're red, which is my favorite color, and they're floppy and everything, but I'm a hardback girl. And so these hardback editions have come out with really nice jacket images. So I've been trying to get all of them in these hardback editions. The next book is The Only One Left by Rayleigh Sager. So I'm going to admit that I forgot I bought this. It was one of the Book of the Month Club books. I had not really intended to try Rayleigh Sager again because I did read Home Before Dark and I did like it, but it was middle of the road. I enjoyed it. I had fun when I was reading it, but I wasn't over the moon or anything. And I've heard so many negative things about all of his books since that one, that I just hadn't been interested in trying Riley Sager again. However, I can see why I did go ahead and pick this one up, because I really liked locked room mysteries and, murder mysteries. And this seems like it's probably a locked room murder mystery. I mean, the only one left, there's like a house on a cliff. I mean, you're getting Agatha Christie and Then There Were None vibes, right? So yeah, so I do want to try this. I'm certain that that's why I picked this up. The next book in the box is Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. So this author wrote another book. I forgot what it's called. Oh my gosh, what is that called? Well, it's kind of a like haunted house type of story. And I actually didn't finish it. I read about 100 pages and then I got distracted and put it aside, and I haven't got back to it yet. But I did enjoy what I read so far in that book anyway. And it's about, this is one about vampires. So I'm going to add this to my Vampirl and Maypire reads in 2024. I'm kind of excited about it. It seems like it's a different kind of vampire story than what I've ever read. So I'm looking forward to it. The next book in the box is called Athena Unbound: Why and How Scholarly Knowledge Should Be Free for All by Peter Baldwin. So this book is all about the accessibility of knowledge. All of the scientific research and discoveries that are made and data and stuff is not really accessible to people. I don't really remember how it all works. I did read something about it. It wasn't like a thorough look into this subject, but I do know that there is information that like I would not be able to access. And that never occurred to me before. I didn't even realize that we wouldn't have access to information, to any information that we would want to know about. And I found that kind of disturbing. And so this is another nonfiction book that I'm really looking forward to reading. Okay, and then another book in the box is The Practical Geologist by Dougal Dixon and edited by Raymond L. Berner. The introductory guide to the basics of geology and to collecting and identifying rocks. So when I was a kid, I was super into collecting rocks. We have a river right on the outskirts of our town. And I used to like to go down there and look for rocks. And my dad used to take us to the lake every weekend. And I would look for rocks there. And there's like another like creek bed or whatever. My dad used to ride his dirt bike and stuff. I would look for rocks there. I did go to a handful of these like geology conventions or whatever as a kid. And I did pick up polished rocks at these geology conventions. So I kind of lost interest in it once I got into junior high. So I do have like a mild interest in it. And so I thought that this would be a good place to kind of start with the subject, just to see if I might still be interested in rocks in general and geology as a subject. The next book in the box, and I am running out of light. I better hurry. The next book in the box is Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. So I picked up this book because I really like the first Die Hard movie. Loved that movie. It's so much fun. And I rewatched it about 6 months ago. And it was based on a book, and I didn't realize that. So I picked up the book, and I'm going to read the book. Earlier this year, when I was doing my vampire reads during April and May, one of the books I read was a Give Yourself Goosebumps book, which is a Goosebumps book that is exactly like a Choose Your Own Adventure book. And Choose Your Own Adventure books were like some of my favorite books to read when I was in elementary school. I absolutely love Choose Your Own Adventure books. So I went online to see if I could find any more of these Give Yourself Goosebumps books. Now, unfortunately, these books are hard to find, and also they're expensive when you do find them. But I did luck out, and I found a lot of Goosebumps books. 3 of them are the Give Yourself Goosebumps from the Give Yourself Goosebumps series, and I didn't have to pay very much money for them. So they're not in the best condition, but good enough. They're totally readable. So the first Give Yourself Goosebumps book is TikTok, You're Dead, The Deadly Experiment of Dr. Eek, Trapped in Batwing Hall, and look right here in the corner. Those are teeth marks. I think a dog got a hold of this book at some point. And then the last 2 are just regular Goosebumps books from the original printing of them. The first one is Piano Lessons Can Be Murder and Stay Out of the Basement. I actually think I have the reprint of Stay Out of the Basement. I have to look. But anyways, yeah, so I have those, and I was perfectly happy to find those Give Yourself Goosebumps books. The next book in the box is Lara by Anna Pasternak. The tagline reads, "The untold love story and inspiration for Dr. Zhivago." So years ago, I watched the movie Dr. Zhivago and loved it. I loved that movie so much. It broke my heart. I really didn't like Dr. Zhivago. He's a jerk. But I still felt empathy for what he went through and everything. But because I loved the movie so much, I read the book. I liked the book as well. Didn't like Dr. Zhivago. Still, in fact, I disliked him even more after reading the book. And I liked the book really well too. So I didn't realize it was based on, I didn't realize that it was like inspired by a true story. But apparently this couple, this doctor and this woman, did actually have a love affair. And somebody wrote a book based on what happened to them in their lives. So I'm going to reread Dr. Zhivago, and then I'm going to read this one right after. The next book in the box is the very best of the best 35 years of the year's best science fiction. Edited by Gardner Dozier. I don't actually know how you pronounce his name. But anyways, so this man edited this series of anthologies. And it's a really good series of anthologies. And this is the last book in the series. And I got this off of Book Outlet. I don't even remember how much I paid for it, but it wasn't that much. It's the very last one. And I only had a few of the others. But somebody who watches my channel contacted me and said that they were thinning out their books and wanted to know if I would like them to mail me the entire collection. So I now have the entire collection of these anthologies, and I'm so excited. I have actually already started reading them, and I'm going to try to get through one of these anthologies every year. So since there's 35 years of them, that means it'll take me 35 years if I do one a year. The next 4 books I picked up in a mall, in like a little store that had used books, mostly science fiction and fantasy, and it had like puzzles and board games and, little like toys and stuff like that related to gaming and everything. And then the other side of the store, they had tabletop gaming tables set up where obviously people went to play. So I got these there, and I got them for 50 cents a piece. So not too bad. They're all 4 by Andre Norton, and 3 of them have the yellow DOS spines. The only one that doesn't is this 4th one, which is who published this? Ace. This 4th one is an Ace book. Well, actually, I'm going to show it first. So this one is called The Crossroads of Time. It has an awesome cover. Love the cover. Very cool. The next one is called Horn Crowd, a new Witch World novel, which is part of a series that I have not read. Cool cover, though. The next one is called Lore of the Witch World, which is part of that same series. Again, a very cool cover. And then this 3rd one called Merlin's Mirror. Now, I think this is part of the same series. The tagline says, a brand new novel of science fantasy, witch lore, and messages from the stars. So I think this is also part of that witch lore series, but I'm not 100% sure. But again, it's cool, and it's got a dragon on the cover. The next book is Prey by Michael Crichton. So I picked this up, but I don't know if I'm going to actually end up reading this because I assumed that I would like Michael Crichton as an author. I like the movies based on his books, and everybody loves Michael Crichton, including people who have similar tastes in reading to me. So I just assumed that I would like Michael Crichton. So I now have a whole bunch of Michael Crichton books, actually. But I've read Sphere and I've read Jurassic Park, and I hated both. I didn't like either one of them. So now I'm concerned that I have all these Michael Crichton books, and I'm not going to even like him as an author. So I may or may not ever get to this one. So when I was a kid, I watched the movie Firestarter with Drew Barrymore and Heather Locklear, and I absolutely loved that movie. I think I was like 10 or somewhere around there when I watched it. Absolutely loved it. It's based on a Stephen King novel with the same name, Firestarter, and I never did read the book. And I always meant to read the book, and I just never got around to it. Well, Book Outlet had it for like $2 or $3, so I picked it up, and I'm definitely going to be getting to this sooner rather than later. The next book in the box is Life on the Mississippi by Mark Twain. I've never read it. It's high time I do. Then we have Cannibalism, A Perfectly Natural History by Bill Shute. This is a nonfiction where the author goes into the animal world to talk about cannibalism in the animal world and the insect world. And then it goes into like the human communities that have included cannibalism. whether it was a religious practice or, you know, disease, famine, war, etc., that might lead to a thing like that. And then he also talks about like some fossils that were found with evidence of cannibalism. So I thought this seemed like a really a really interesting read. And so I'm kind of excited to read this book, and I'm probably going to read it sooner rather than later as well. Then I had this little mass market paperback, which contains Smith of Wootton Major and Farmer Giles of Ham. That are 2 stories written by J.R.R. Tolkien, which I've never read. And then I have this second book, which is 3 stories that were translated by J.R.R. Tolkien, called Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, Pearl, and Sir Orfeo. So yeah, it's translated by J.R.R. Tolkien and edited by Christopher Tolkien. And the final book in the box is I've over the years, I've been trying to, because I love choose your own adventure books so much when I was a kid, I've been trying to collect choose your own adventure books that have a hardcover, which, as you can imagine, don't come up very often. In fact, I've only ever found 3. So this is the 3rd one that I have found, called Your Codename is Jonah by Edward Packard. And I especially want the ones by Edward Packard because they're not in print anymore. You can't get them except for as used copies. There was some kind of falling out when the Choose Your Own Adventure series the rights were transferred to a different publisher, and Edward Packard refused to allow them to publish the ones that he wrote, even though he is the one who created this series of books in the first place, and his are the best ones. So anyways, you can't hardly find them. But anyways, yeah, so I was super thrilled to find this one. I have read this one. I remember reading this one when I was a kid, and this one is in like practically perfect condition. It's clearly a school library edition, or maybe it's a regular library edition. I'm not sure, actually. Is this a school? It's not stamped, so I'm not sure. But probably a school edition, I would imagine. I think public libraries used to always stamp their books. But anyways, it's in practically perfect condition, and it's in the kind of hardbacks that I remember, which were either green or blue, and the cover image was like a sticker, essentially, that was put on there, and the back as well. So yeah, I was very, very excited to find this. Okay, and that is the last book in the box. So we'll see if I can get a couple more videos recorded. So I'll be back with more book hauls and potentially some other videos as well very soon.